Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of July 12, 2025. I'm your host, Sharifa Muhammad MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an Infantry Officer. On July 12, 2025, the Russian armed forces executed a coordinated long-range precision strike using air-launched weapons and UAVs against Ukraine's military-industrial infrastructure in Lviv, Kharkiv, and Lutsk, and a key military airfield. All intended targets were destroyed, indicating high ISR accuracy and minimal deviation from strike parameters.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, let's begin with the big picture. On the night of July 12th, the Russian armed forces launched a coordinated strike across multiple Ukrainian cities. What were the strategic goals of this operation?
The operation you're referring to was a deliberate, synchronized precision strike campaign utilizing long-range air-launched weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles. The targets were not random. We struck key military-industrial complex sites in Lviv, Kharkiv, and Lutsk, as well as a military airfield. These were not just symbolic targets, they were logistical arteries. The goal was to degrade Ukraine's ability to manufacture, repair, and deploy material, particularly artillery systems, armored vehicles, and air defense components. Operational doctrine tells us that you must cut the flow of replacement systems to undermine sustained resistance. By hitting these industrial sites, we're accelerating the depletion cycle on the front lines. Even more critically, the airfield infrastructure was targeted to diminish Ukraine's force projection and drone launch capacity in the western sectors. All targets were confirmed hit, and we have strong ISR confirmation post-strike.
You mentioned industrial and logistical disruption. Let's talk about the front line itself. What's happening in the north, particularly around Sumy and Kharkiv?
In the northern operational zone, units from the Sever and Zapad groupings made tactical gains. These weren't sweeping advances but measured positional improvements that allow for better fields of fire, recon placement, and interdiction capability. In Sumy, we neutralized forces from multiple assault brigades and territorial defense units across Rzevka, Radiansk, and other critical areas. These zones are choke points. They form the connective tissue between Ukrainian rear logistics and frontline defenses. Kharkiv saw similar pressure. Our forces engaged in disruption maneuvers against entrenched territorial brigades near Volchansk and Melivoy. These aren't major urban centers, but their loss fragments the defense perimeter. Importantly, over 170 enemy personnel were neutralized across both regions, and several supply depots were destroyed, impacting local sustainment.
It sounds like a grind, not a blitz. What's the tactical logic behind these incremental gains?
Yes, correct. This is attritional maneuver warfare. We're not aiming for rapid breakthroughs here. Instead, we're creating localized exhaustion. We apply pressure where enemy cohesion is fragile, force them to overcommit reserves, and then degrade those reserves through superior firepower and persistent ISR. Attrition is not always about immediate results, it's cumulative. If we can cause 200 to 300 losses per day in a given sector while minimizing our own exposure, the enemy eventually runs out of maneuver battalions and begins thinning their defense. That's when operational tempo shifts, and a broader exploitation phase becomes possible.
Moving south, what's the situation around Donetsk and Zaporozhye? I understand that southern and center groups had significant contact.
Yes. The Donetsk front has seen some of the heaviest engagements in recent weeks. The southern grouping pushed through multiple sectors including Chasov Yar, Konstantinovka, and Serebryanka. Here, we engaged a mixture of airborne, National Guard, and assault brigades. These are often Ukraine's better trained units, but their cohesion is faltering under sustained shelling and direct fire assaults.
And the center group of forces?
The center forces executed a broad front engagement against combined mechanized and ranger formations across Dmitrov and Krasnoarmysk. Enemy losses here were notably high. We're looking at over 450 personnel in a 24-hour window, alongside material assets including radar systems like the Israeli-made Rada. That's a big blow to their situational awareness. These sectors are becoming increasingly unstable for the armed forces of Ukraine. Our strategy is to exploit their overextended defense in-depth model by targeting command and control nodes and rotating firepower concentrations across a wide arc.
And what about the southern axis, Kherson and the Dnieper?
The East and Dnieper groups continue defensive shaping actions. These are not yet breakthrough operations, but they signal intent. In the Zaporizhzhia region, we engaged mechanized and marine brigades in Poltavka and Timirovka, degrading both personnel and electronic warfare capabilities. The Dnieper front saw successful interdiction of mountain assault and coastal defense brigades. Notably, we neutralized 9 electronic warfare nodes and multiple supply depots. This weakens their ability to shield assets from drone and missile strikes. What we're doing here is preparing the field. By steadily degrading their southern radar, EW, and ammunition capacities, we pave the way for a potential deeper push toward river crossings or southern maneuver corridors later this summer.
You mentioned EW systems multiple times. Why is targeting electronic warfare such a priority right now?
That's an astute question. Modern warfare is highly dependent on the electromagnetic spectrum. Ukraine has increasingly relied on EW to disrupt our drone operations and intercept communications. By neutralizing these capabilities, we create windows of vulnerability in which our UAVs can loiter undetected and our guided munitions can strike with less risk of jamming or spoofing. Additionally, with NATO-supplied EW gear integrated into Ukrainian C4ISR, disabling these systems has a dual effect. It reduces immediate battlefield effectiveness and complicates NATO's ability to provide real-time intelligence support. So, we target EW not just tactically, but as part of a broader operational strategy.
Finally, can you speak to the cumulative air defense effort? What does the interception of nearly 190 UAVs and glide bombs in a single period say about the air war?
It tells us the air war remains intensely contested. Ukraine has tried to saturate our rear echelons with drones, some recon, some explosive, aiming to disrupt logistics and morale. The fact that our air defenses intercepted 189 drones and 2 precision glide bombs in a single reporting window indicates not just defensive strength, but that the tempo of the drone war is escalating. The implication here is twofold. 1, we're adapting effectively with multi-layered air defense. 2, Ukraine is expending a significant portion of its drone stockpile daily. If their supply pipeline falters, either from destroyed domestic facilities or slowed NATO deliveries, they'll lose their asymmetric edge in this domain.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. Should Ukrainian industrial and recruitment infrastructure continue to absorb this level of attrition, and without increased NATO aid throughput, strategic culmination for Ukraine may approach within 150 to 180 days, especially in light of Clausewitzian friction effects, losses, morale, reconstitution delays.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive Frontline updates from commanders in theater.